everyone, to a very special episode of the Circle Back podcast. Today, we have something special lined up for you. We're going to be doing Game of the Generation. But before we dig into that, in case you don't know, Circle Back is basically the show where two great friends get together, talk about video games. I'm Dan LaMarca, and as always, I'm joined by Dan Dufrenoy.
How are you?
So Dan, let's just get right into it. I'm going to give a couple quick guidelines here. This is going to be very similar if you watched our Game of the Year episode. We're going to be going back and forth, taking one off. Our ultimate goal is to get 10 games of the Xbox 360, PS3, and Wii generation. So we're getting 10 games and ordering them and claiming one as Game of the Generation.
This is going to be very, very hard.
Okay, right now we have 43 games, a lot of freaking games. A little bit of difference that we're going to do is we're not going to talk about every game in depth until we get down into the nitty-gritty and we're really trying to argue.
Many games, yeah.
So as we cut games, I hope you know these games, so you might say, okay, I knew what he was talking about. If not, you can look them up, check them out. But basically, just to be mentioned here, these are like what we consider the 44, I think we have 44 best games of the generation.
And it's just our opinion.
Of course, our opinion, yeah. I should mention, no Street Fighter 4, we're not fighting game guys.
Yeah.
We're not big Assassin's Creed fans, so Assassin's Creed 2 is not on here.
GTA is not on here.
GTA 5, not on here. I know a lot of people would put that way up there. Not for us. So these are our 44.
Just our opinion.
We're getting them down to 10, ordered with number 1. So I think that covers most of our bases. Oh, one more little thing. We decided that we're not doing any multiples of the same game series. So Uncharted, we picked the best Uncharted. In our opinion, we picked Uncharted 2. We picked the best Mass Effect, in our collective opinion, even though Dan's wrong. Mass Effect 2. Mass Effect 2 is on here. Fantastic game. Portal 2 over Portal 1. Arkham Asylum over Arkham City. Super Mario Galaxy 2 over Galaxy 1.
Mm-hmm.
And Skyrim over Oblivion. So those are basically the important ones. There are others on here that are different, but we're basically saying these are our favorites in that series. Here's the 44 top games for us of that Xbox 360, PS3 generation. So I'm just going to read them all out real quick.
Okay.
44 games, a lot to get through, but I'm going to read them, and then we're going to start making cuts. So, in no particular order, we have Enslaved, Odyssey to the West. We have Shadow Complex. We have Fez, Left 4 Dead 2, Halo 3, Papo EO, Geometry Wars, State of Decay, Dishonored, Catherine, Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons, The Unfinished Swan, XCOM Enemy Unknown, The Witcher 2, Ni no Kuni, Super Meat Boy, Fallout 3, Spec Ops The Line, Burnout Paradise, Bastion, Dead Space, Bioshock, The Walking Dead Season 1, Telltale, Far Cry 2, Red Dead Redemption, Metal Gear Solid 4, The Last of Us, Minecraft, Uncharted 2, Dark Souls, Journey, Limbo, Rock Band, Braid, Skyrim, Spelunky, my mouth's getting dry, Hotline Miami, Borderlands, Mass Effect 2, Portal 2, Arkham Asylum, Super Mario Galaxy 2, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, and The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. So, that's our 44. A lot of games. I'm sorry you had to listen to that. But it's important, and for those of you that like it, you'll appreciate that we said it. So, I'm going to start us off by cutting a game. These are all great games. It's tough to cut any of them.
It's really hard, yeah.
But I think the first one that I personally want to cut is Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword.
Okay, that was actually my addition.
Yeah, I know it's a Zelda game. It's good. People like Zelda games. Not a big fan of that one.
That's fair.
Yeah,
I'm going to cut off Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. I agree that that's probably the best Call of Duty game. We've talked about this. If not on the show, we've talked about this. We're not really big shooters.
Right.
Call of Duty has kind of been shooter fans.
You're not a shooter?
No, I've never shot anybody. Never. No, but Call of Duty as a franchise, we're just not.
Yeah,
it's the best one of the games, but
yeah, and we're not gonna. We don't have to go into too much detail about these games as we're cutting them, but I definitely want to say that's an important game to have on this list because it did a lot for multiplayer shooters.
Right.
So I'm glad that was on there to begin with. I'm gonna go ahead and cut one of my own babies here, Burnout Paradise. I don't think it's going to hang. I think it's, again, a super important game. It did more with online than a lot of games, and it's one of my favorite racing, probably my favorite racing game of all time. It's excellent.
I'm going to take off XCOM. I know you're a big fan of those XCOM games.
Yeah,
I've actually never played an XCOM game, but I like the whole strategy thing behind it.
It's not going to make top 10, but it's an awesome game, and I freaking love it. I'm going to get rid of Papo Yo.
Okay.
I know you like this game quite a bit.
I'm a big fan of this game.
It has a really great story, really unique game. I don't think it's going to crack top 10.
I love Papo Yo, but like you said, compared to the other games here, it's definitely one of my favorites.
And something I didn't say is if one of us disagrees, we can argue about it and leave it on the list.
Yeah.
We're just basically nominating cuts. It's a lot like the Game of the Year episode if you watch that one.
All right, let me think. Minecraft.
Okay.
Minecraft, a lot of fun. I've had a lot of fun. Spent more hours than I should have on this game, but I think we're going to cut this one.
That's fair.
What do you think, yeah?
I think you're right. I think, again, very important game.
Again, very important. Just kind of like you said, Burnout and Call of Duty 4.
Not necessarily one of our favorite games.
Important game.
Because these we're getting our top 10 favorite games of the generation.
Right.
Not necessarily saying what's the most important game of the
Right.
generation.
Minecraft would be super important, I'd say, for what it did for gaming.
Yes, definitely. I'm going to go ahead and cut Geometry Wars Retro Evolved. This was one of the first XBLA games. Very, very good. Arcade shooter. I love that game, but I don't think that it's going to make top 10.
What's your opinion on me taking off Halo 3?
I think it is not going to make top 10, so I think you should take it off.
And the only reason, I know this isn't fair, but I think 1 and 2 were better games.
Halo 2 is a better game.
So
Halo 2 is the best in the series. It's not in this generation, so it's not on here. I think 3 can go. I think you're right, Dan.
Okay. Wow, that's first wow.
I don't know.
First time for everything.
All right. Jesus.
And it's still crazy. We still have like 30 games.
Yeah. It gets tough quick here. But I think I'm going to take off Super Meat Boy.
Okay.
Super Meat Boy, definitely one of my favorite Xbox Live Arcade games.
Love Super Meat Boy.
Awesome game.
So much fun.
Really, really fun. It's not going to make top 10, unfortunately.
Okay. I'm actually going to go for one that's actually a game that I love. It's so hard because I love every single one of these games. I'm going to take off Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons. Beautiful game, sad game.
Very sad.
Really, really interesting mechanic. Definitely one of my favorite games when it came out. I forget what year it came out, but it definitely top 10 then.
2012?
Yeah, I just don't know if it's going to hang with the rest of them. What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, I think you're right. It's not going to hang. It's very, very good, though.
It's a great game.
It's a really good game. All right. I think Enslaved, Odyssey to the West, is a really interesting, unique game that I love very much. To call it top 10 of the generation would be giving it a little too much credit, in my opinion, though. So it's going to go. I'm glad it was on here. But
yeah.
Let's just shuffle them around. I want to keep it tight here.
Now, I'm going to pick Left 4 Dead 2.
Okay.
Just because I've actually never played a Left 4 Dead game, but that's because they never interested me enough to, pick it up. I don't know if that's a disservice to the games.
Yeah, it is, but I would say Left 4 Dead 2 is incredible. One of the most fun multiplayer games.
Okay.
As far as co-op and competitive multiplayer, both really, really good. I love Left 4 Dead. I think Left 4 Dead 2 is even better. But I think you're right. It's not going to crack top 10.
Okay. Again, that may not be fair that, I'm taking it off just because I never had experience
it's totally
with it.
fair. This is our list. This isn't my list.
But it just never interested me enough to... but again, maybe I'll,
That's fair.
give it a shot. I'll open my mind.
I'm going to take off the original Borderlands.
Okay.
I really like Borderlands.
Yeah, me too.
I think it basically making a Diablo-style first-person shooter with really interesting loot is a really cool idea. And I like the world building in Borderlands 1 a lot. The characters in 2 got a little annoying, but Borderlands deserve to be on here and not going to make top 10.
What's your opinion of taking State of Decay off?
I think it should come off. I love this game. It's really, really good. It's another one that's like super flawed game, so I don't think it can be top 10.
Top 10 of the generation.
But it did so many awesome, interesting things. State of Decay 2 comes out in 2018, so I'm excited for that. All right. Shit.
Yeah, now, how many do you have left? 1, 2.
These are 12 each, these rows,
Oh, okay.
so I think we got exactly 30 right now.
Oh my god, we barely even like...
Gotta get it down to 10. All right, so, All right, I think Ni no Kuni is an excellent game. One of my favorite RPGs, pretty much ever, honestly. That hangs up there with the best, but I think looking at this list...
It's so tough, because these are just all such amazing games.
It's going to be tough to hang on here, so I think that's got to go.
Might get a little backlash for this one. Catherine's awesome. Awesome game. Crazy story, crazy mechanics. Atlas, you know, the people that did the Persona games. Very, very cool game.
I don't know. I have... The thing about this game is I have complicated feelings on it because I think some of the stuff in there is pretty shitty. You know, I think like the Persona games, it's like there's some bad things in there.
Oh, yeah, no, definitely.
Like there's some like real homophobia, like terrible stuff in there.
Yeah, definitely.
But overall, there's some really good personal and interesting, unique style of storytelling. Catherine is a very good game. I think you're right. I think it can go, but... Oh, boy. All right. Shit. All right, I think I'm going to take out Hotline Miami.
Okay.
I think Hotline Miami is a really cool, stylish, top-down, incredible playing game. The music paired with the visuals, it's like a really awesome, crazy game. I don't think it's going to make top 10. I really like this game, though. That's a game that I can go back to often and just run through, and it's a lot of fun.
All right. I'm going to take off The Witcher 2. For the only reason that there's just so many amazing games on here.
Yeah.
I just don't think this is what's so tough about this one. It's just
that's
like
fair. I think The Witcher 2 is really, really good. I think The Witcher 3 did it better. Obviously not in this generation, but I think this one can go.
what's so crazy is now that we're getting down to it, and there's still like 25 games here. It's just that there are games that are amazing games, but there are games that are just that much better, and that's why we're taking certain games off. This is gonna be so hard.
Yeah. Well, like we said from the beginning, any games that we listed, we endorse fully. These are excellent games. So it's not that, you know.
Right.
All right. All right, Dan, I'm going to ask you this one.
Okay.
I'm thinking about getting rid of the Unfinished Swan.
Oof. That's another.
I know.
That's one that I love.
I know that's a great game, and I like it quite a bit as well. But I think there's a lot of indie story games on here that do it a little better, in my opinion.
You know, it's funny when we were talking about the list. I have a list of also my favorite indie games. Unfinished Swan is definitely top 10.
Yeah.
But there are actually
some that are higher.
some on here that are actually already higher than that. So you know, games like Braid, Limbo Fez, Bastion, I love more than.
Yeah, I do as well.
Unfinished One anyway, which is tough. It was really hard. I love this game, especially the first half hour of that game.
The opening of that game, show anybody the opening of that game.
Well, you did. That's how I learned about it. You said, dude, just play this game just
so
for,
cool. Yeah, the opening of that game is incredible.
That's tough, though, taking that one off. But
yeah, let's move these down a little bit. And let's count them one more time, just so we know where we're at for sure. 1, 2, 3, 4. 12. 25.
okay, all right. You got 20 dice. Oh my god. All right.
So yeah, what are you thinking, Dan?
I've never heard of Shadow Complex.
Okay.
Enlighten me.
Shadow Complex is a Metrovania game.
Okay.
Where you are basically this you're like a random dude, but he ends up getting a gun and being like a military guy. It's a side-scrolling 2D shooter, basically.
Okay.
But it really is in the vein of like Super Metroid, Castlevania,
cool.
Symphony of the
All
Night.
right.
And it's a really cool, awesome game. Really fun to play. I like this game a lot. I think you're right to have identified it because it is not going to make it to to the top 10.
Okay.
I really enjoy that game a lot. People that haven't played that should give it a try. All right. I'm going to get rid of the original Dishonored.
Okay.
I think Dishonored is an amazing game. It's in the same vein of, we talk about Prey and the immersive sim and stuff like that. Dishonored is that style of game, and it is a really good version of it. I think there can be a case made for making top 10, but I don't think it makes our collective top 10.
Okay. Wow. All right. Well, here's one. All right. This is going to be out of left field for me, at least. It's between two that I think are.
Don't tell me the two. Just pick one.
Okay. I'm going to take Skyrim out.
Wow.
Which is big, and you know how much I love Skyrim and how much I love this game.
Wow.
And how everybody loves this game. It's up to you because this is a collective thing, but I can think of 10 games on here that are.
Dan, I'm going to be honest with you. If you're taking Skyrim out, then Skyrim should go out because you like Skyrim a lot more than I do.
More than you do.
All right.
I
saw that one making top 10 for sure.
You think so?
Well,
I got to say, no, there's 10 games on here that I would put
all right.
ahead.
Skyrim knocked off. All right. Yeah, let's get these to 10 each if we can.
Okay.
All right. I think I'm going to take out Spec Ops: The Line.
Okay.
Totally underplayed, underappreciated game. Spec Ops: The Line is it's like Heart of Darkness or Apocalypse Now. Like, it's that same sort of theme of, you're thinking about why you're doing this, where are you, why are you here. Like, it's a guy at war, but it's basically done in a more modern era. It's done in the Middle East. It's really fucking good.
Yeah, I never played it.
Not enough people played it. It had a terrible marketing campaign, but it's an awesome game, and I highly recommend it.
Yeah, definitely want to have to check out.
Yeah. This is fucking rough at this point, dude.
See, these are all my favorite games now. These are legit. The games on here are on my top games. This is what's hard now. All right. I know this is your baby.
Shit, what are you doing?
I'll take Far Cry 2.
All right. I can see it.
I know how much you love the Far Cry games.
Yeah. Far Cry 2 would be on my top 10 here. No doubt about it. But I get it. It's not for everybody, and it's a tough sell. It's a janky-ass game that does a lot of things right, but some things wrong. So I get it. Are we down to 20 here?
Uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, seis, siete, ocho, nueve, diez. What? Yeah, we're on 20.
All right. Got to get rid of 10 of these, Dan. 10 of these games will be gone.
And these are some of the best games ever.
All right. So I'm going to get rid of Fez. What do you think about that?
I love Fez.
I like Fez a lot. I think we have too many games here, Dan.
I know. That's what
Fez
breaks
is
my
near
heart.
the bottom of this collective list. What do you think?
Fine.
You can say no, Dan.
No. If we're going to do it down to 10, that's
what
okay.
I'm saying. We're getting it to 10, man. It's tough. Fez, incredible indie game. Perspective shifting. Really fucking cool game. Check that game out.
I love Fez. Fez is one of my top games and top indie games. Hands down. Can't believe Fez is off the list. That's so sad.
Dan, you could have said no, man.
No. Legit looking. When we were talking about this, and I was thinking about the top 10 games in the generation, there are 7 on here that were my top 10 list. I was 100%.
3 are already gone?
Definitely. 3 are already gone. Yeah.
Oh, shit. Don't tell me
Fez,
what. Fez was one.
I love Fez so much. Okay. All right. This is going to be controversial. This is going to be very, very controversial. You may get angry at me. The few viewers at home might get angry at me. Fallout 3. We all love the Fallout games. Fallout's amazing. But for the same reasons that I took Skyrim off.
Yeah.
I feel like the amazing moments, there's some amazing moments. But compared to like the wandering moments where there's nothing going on, the random quests, the things that just have no... I think there's more... I'll put it this way. I think there's more tighter games. And I think it's just because Fallout 3 and Skyrim are just so huge and so massive, there's bound to be, boring moments.
Yeah. I looking at this grouping, I could see it.
I think that there's tighter games as a whole.
I thought for sure that was going to be on.
I thought when you talk about like important games, but I think...
It's gone.
Okay. I think there's more tighter games on here. And I think that just has to do with it being so massive. Mm-hmm. Same thing with Skyrim. Mm-hmm. But I think that there's more tighter, cohesive projects on here.
Okay. I think that I'm going to do it and take off Metal Gear Solid 4.
Okay.
I know you haven't played it.
That's the one franchise I got to get into.
The reason that I'll take off Metal Gear Solid 4 is because it is near the bottom of my list of Metal Gear Solid games, even though it's an amazing game and I love it.
Really? That'd be like...
I'm not saying it's number 5, but it's 4 or 5, yeah.
Wow.
Definitely. It's excellent. I love it. It's totally ridiculous and stupid, and it's fantastic. So I'm getting rid of it. I don't think it's going to make ours.
I thought that would be top 10 for sure, actually.
Not going to make it.
That's so funny. All right. So this is something that we've actually talked about. I forget. It's probably last episode. Maybe I don't remember.
I don't know.
But we've definitely talked about this. Rock Band's super important game. Mm-hmm. Super game that we still play with our friends. Super, super important.
But we're looking at our favorite game.
Favorite games.
Yeah.
Rock Band, I think, would be in the same vein as Minecraft, like important games of the generation.
Yeah.
But when I look at games with like staying power that I constantly go back to.
Dan, you are right, my friend. It is not one of our top 10 favorite games of the generation. I'll agree.
Okay.
So, we gotta get rid of 6.
Oh, now it's like the best games ever.
You keep saying it, Dan. All right. All right, so you got to talk me through this because I see 4 games specifically that are much smaller indie games.
Right. Okay.
And I think my least favorite of the bunch is Limbo.
So we're looking
I'm talking about Braid,
Spelunky, Limbo, and Journey.
I think Limbo. You know what I would have said? I would have said Limbo would have probably been on this if I never played Inside because I think Inside's a better game too.
Better. Yeah. But
Limbo's great.
So fantastic.
I'm not saying Limbo's not great, but I'm saying I don't see it on this list. I see a couple of the other smaller games on this list. I don't see Limbo on the list. What do you think?
This is going to be crazy. I think out of the indie games we have here, I think Braid is the greatest.
Okay. I think that's a possibility. I would take a different one over it. I don't want to go too much.
But yeah, we'll talk more. I think.
Do you think Limbo can go?
I think out of we also have Bastion on here. I think at 1, 2, 3, 4. I think 5. Out of the 5, I think I'd put it 5th.
Limbo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I understand that.
Limbo's
I do love Limbo.
Tough one.
And just some of those crazy stories, like fan theories, like about that game.
About Limbo?
Yeah, it's just like it all makes sense. It's like insane. That game.
Interesting. That game's good. Game's really fucking good, but it's not one of the top 10 games of the generation.
So sad. Oh, Limbo. Limbo would be top 5 indie games of all time for me, at least.
All right, I guess the other 4 are on here then.
Yeah, that's actually really tough. Yeah, you're right.
All right, what do you got here, Dan? Because we're gonna the fisticuffs are gonna happen at some point.
I know.
So
I'm getting ready.
I'm gonna hear you.
Okay. All right. I love The Walking Dead. I really do. That first season, man. Talk about the tears. Talk about the emotions. Walking Dead season 1 by Telltale. Again, important. The way that those stories are told, the way that you can kind of shift the narrative by your actions. Mm-hmm. Oh man, absolutely love it.
That's one of the rare games. I want to talk a little bit about it.
Yeah,
I think it's going to go.
I'd love to talk.
But
about
I want to talk to you about it because we've talked in the past about like actual narrative.
Yeah.
That's good. and how a lot of times video game story that's good is like small character moments and this and that, and it's like if you take the plot of The Walking Dead season 1, you could easily make a movie or a show about it. I feel like a lot of like that is a complete narrative with character development and a wide array of characters. I think that game is fantastic.
It really is.
At what it does.
I'm very happy that it's made it this far. Definitely.
Yeah. But I think you're right. It's not gonna crack the top 10.
I mean, I was crying by the end of it.
Yeah, it's an emotional game. All right.
This is. I'm not gonna say. I've said it like 18 times. This is so hard.
All right. So. I have a thought here. Hear me out. Again, what I just talked about with Limbo with the 5.
Yeah.
We have 4 here.
Yep.
You know how much I love Bastion.
Yeah.
And Spelunky.
Yes.
And I know how much you love Journey and Braid.
Yeah.
And we both like the others as well.
Exactly.
But I'm saying those are kind of our babies there. I cannot foresee those 4. Think about the rest of this list.
I know those 4 all being in the top 10.
They're not all 4 going to make it.
I know.
So we're going to have to sort that out, like now.
Okay. So you want to say what are the... So out of the indie games we have... I
just want to talk it through. I'm not saying we need 2 or 3.
Journey
I just don't think all 4 are going to make it in.
For my money...
Yeah.
Braid and Journey are the best games.
Yeah, and I would say the opposite. So.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
You say Spelunky and Bastion are better than Braid and Journey?
Yeah.
Interesting, okay.
I think that Bastion is like absolutely one of my like favorite games of all time.
Right,
I like the world.
And me too, of course. I'm not,
No, but I'm saying that specifically would be like over many of these.
Okay.
But I think Spelunky is one of the most genius and
100%.
well-made games ever.
Right.
Like literally of all time.
I agree.
I think that
when it comes to rogue games, that's it. That's the game, I think.
Yeah, that game for me is just like perfectly made. That's like an almost perfect game.
My pitch, though, would be when you talk about a game like Braid and how much we love the Mario Brothers. I mean, that takes that and it spins it on its head.
It's a great twist.
Not only that, the story behind it, and then Journey. You know, we've talked about moments in gaming. Journey, there's no dialogue, and there are moments in that game where you just whoa.
Yeah.
This is tough.
I know. Let's just think for a second.
Okay.
Down here we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 games.
We got
Are there any of these games that you would get rid of before you get rid of even a single one of them? And we're talking about Mass Effect 2, Uncharted 2, Arkham Asylum, BioShock, Dead Space, Galaxy 2, Dark Souls, Red Dead Redemption, Last of Us, and Portal 2.
Okay.
It's a pretty mean fucking list.
I know, seriously.
But would you get rid of any of these before you would get rid of any of those?
Okay.
That's what we need to know.
All right. This is getting really tough, and this is where the fisticuffs are going to come out. I love the Batman games. I love Arkham Asylum and Arkham City. Arkham City could have easily just been on here. I would take Batman out. Batman would be like, for me, like 11. Probably when this game came out, it's probably my favorite game when this game came out. What was it, 2009 or whatever? I think that was the best game. So good. I love what's so cool about this. So Arkham City was cool because it was like you're Batman and it's like you get the whole city. But Arkham Asylum was so claustrophobic, and so it's kind of that feeling again. We've talked about this from the movie Ridley Scott's Alien. Just like that feeling of claustrophobia, like you are in this tight environment and anything in any corner can mess with you. I love that.
That game's great, and it really is like a Metroid.
It's so good.
Game. Like you're finding power ups, you're going back, you're backtracking. Like that's a superb game. But I think I would as well get rid of that before.
Scarecrow was the coolest in that game. I love me the Joker.
Yeah, those scarecrow moments
Oh
where
my
you go
God,
into that like
that
other
is
world
so
was
cool.
so cool.
The best those where you think you're dead. Spoilers.
Yeah.
You think you're dead, and then like the TV goes.
So good, man.
I mean, really, some of the.
Oh man, stop talking about it. I want that to stay.
Yeah.
No, it's gonna go. Damn it.
You know what kind of ruined it for me? The boss fight with the Joker at the end. I thought
Yeah,
that
it
was
was
kind of
terrible.
silly. I
It
was
was
like,
terrible.
why would you ruin the game with this?
Why?
Again, there's some tight games on here. Like,
Yeah.
we're like being nitty gritty
Here's
now.
what I want to do now. We're down to what, 13?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 13.
Let's get some locks
Okay.
up there.
Okay, that's good.
Give me one that you would say is definitely on there.
Definitely Last of Us.
Last of Us, I agree. Lock.
Okay,
I think Mass Effect 2 is a lock.
I agree. I'd say Bioshock's a lock.
I agree. I would say Dark Souls is
I
absolutely a lock.
agree as well. I'd say Red Dead's a lock.
Yeah. That's 5.
All right, now it gets a little.
Do you
blurry.
see any others that are definitely locks?
There's games that like if they don't make the top 10, I'll be like, oh, like that. I could see that being like top 10. Like Uncharted 2, Portal 2. I mean, I could see those games like Mario Galaxy 2. Like, yeah, top 10. But then I'm like, oh, well, Raid's an awesome game. Oh, Bastion's an awesome game.
I think personally, and tell me if this is crazy, I think Uncharted 2 is the weak link out of this lower group.
I do love the Uncharted games. I'd understand it being out of the list though. But so when I think of those games, I think of them as just like a continuous movie. So it's even hard for me to like separate 2 from 3 to it's just like
Yeah. I mean, to go from 1 to 2 is a big jump, but
Yeah.
2 and 3, you're right.
2 and 3 are fantastic. I mean, I know 4 was this generation, but 4 might be my favorite. I mean, it's just they interchange every day. But I kind of have the same feelings the way that I do with like Arkham Asylum, just like absolutely amazing. But just like number 11 compared to, all tied for 11 compared to.
Yeah, they're all tied for 11.
All tied for 11, it's like.
We're going to have 32 number 11.
Number 11s, yeah.
Or 33. All right, Uncharted sounds like it's gone.
All right.
We need to get rid of 2.
All right, what do you think about me getting rid of Portal 2?
I don't think so.
No?
Well, let's talk about it, though. I think the reason that Portal 2 should be on this list is that... So when you played Portal, the original, it was super surprising, right? Like, the whole time, you're like...
Never played anything like it.
Never played anything like it. When that moment where you go outside of the test area, you're like, what the fuck am I playing? Like, it was so awesome. So I went into Portal 2 being like, okay, I'm going to play whatever they make. That's great. But how are they going to, like, they can't do anything to advance it. They ended up telling a really cool story and some crazy moments in that game. And I just think the puzzle design combined with the excellent story, and they have a full co-op campaign that's totally different. That's incredible. Like, I played through the entire co-op campaign, and it was a whole different story, and it was really fun. I think Portal 2 is absolutely one of the 10 best of the generation.
Like, would you want to lock it? I'd be okay if you want to lock it.
I don't necessarily want to lock it, but I'm saying I'm...
I don't know what to get rid of, bro.
Yeah, I know. I think...
All right. I'm sorry, I won't cut you off.
Go ahead.
I love Dead Space from top to finish. Absolutely terrifying. It kind of... We're talking about, like, tight games. I feel like Dead Space kind of falls off just a little bit.
Oh, man, I don't know.
No? I feel like there's certain moments where... What's so interesting about Dead Space is it never loses the scares, and it never loses that anticipation of, crap, if I turn the corner, there's going to be something that... You know what I mean? It never loses that, but I feel like it does get monotonous at times. I love Dead Space. Dead Space would be one of my favorite games of all time, too. But now we're being, like, really, really, like, nitpicking.
Yeah.
I feel like it does have moments where it kind of like Prey, where it gets that sort of...
I get what you're saying with that, but I don't think you can... I don't think these are infallible. I don't think Red Dead Redemption has no moments like that. There's a lot of lulls.
Okay,
Mass Effect 2, same thing.
Yeah.
I just think... I think it's tough to poke that specific hole in Dead Space. But I'm not saying it's definitely on. I'm just... I want to cut it for the right reasons if we're going to cut it.
And this is the issue, is that these are all... all these games appear on my favorite games list ever.
I think,
so, The one game. Oh, sorry. I keep.
No. I really feel like the problem is like if you ask me like my top 10 of all time, Bastion is on that list, and none of these other 4 are.
Okay.
Like I hold Bastion in that high regard. Spelunky, I think, is the better game.
Okay.
And the more important game. I don't think it's my favorite in the same way that I like Bastion.
Well, the way that you love Bastion is the way I love Braid.
Yeah.
Like for me, Braid is.
I think they both go up then.
Braid's the one game
that Bastion and Braid go up.
Okay. Braid's the one game I tell people, if you've never played this game, play this game. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's any game, of any game. I tell you, oh, you probably never heard of this game, Braid. Play it.
Yeah,
you know?
no, I get it. I think Braid is excellent as well.
I just love how it's took the Mario Brothers, spins it on its head, but then also has like a story that just...
And also the mechanics are incredible. And
exactly.
I love the puzzles in that game.
I mean, I hate to even say it, but we could take Journey and Spelunky off. That's like so tough too, though. Journey's got some of those moments that just beautiful moments with no words, and talk about like no story, but like there is a story, and it's just it's in 3 hours you've just like your life's changed a little bit, you know. And Spelunky too. What Spelunky did when it comes to road games, I mean, it's just perfect.
I'm personally leaning towards putting Journey up. I say put Journey up no matter what.
So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's only 2 more out of these 4 games. Out of Portal 2, Dead Space, Spelunky, and Super Mario Galaxy 2.
Man.
Yeah, which is the best out of that?
I know. Galaxy's got to go up. Galaxy's got to go up, and Portal 2's got to go up.
So tell me why against Spelunky and Dead Space, because you were fighting for Dead Space.
Yeah, I can't tell you why. You know, like I love those games so much, but
you don't feel that there was moments in Dead Space that got a little
Not for me. I thought it was really well paced, and I think the ending is shitty. The last like hour is kind of annoying, but that's any horror, anything.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, I mean, that list looks nice up there. I can't shit talk it. I would love to see these 2 on there, but I don't know what would come off.
I gotta say, as much as I was crap talking about Dead Space, I'm kind of okay with Spelunky coming off. I am having a hard time with Dead Space coming off.
Yeah, I just don't see something else
that we replace it with.
Replacing. All right, Dead Space and Spelunky.
Why do we do this to ourselves?
Are gone.
You know?
It's not fun day.
Yeah, you said we're going to have a good time hanging out, making videos, but
we're not. All right, we're down to 10. I'm just going to read the 10. They're in no particular order, and then we are going to order them.
Okay.
We have The Last of Us, Mass Effect 2, BioShock, Dark Souls, Red Dead Redemption, Bastion, Braid, Journey, Portal 2, and Super Mario Galaxy 2.
What's the weakest link out of these games?
I think based on our discussions and based on the fact that it's our list, not my list, I think Bastion should be at the end. I could see Bastion as a solid number 10.
I love Bastion, not as much as you do, but I think it kind of has that sort of like... What's cool about Bastion is like it's very stylish. It's very, you know, it's kind of just...
The truth of it is, like, when we talk about Pyre, you know, same guy, Supergiant made it.
Right.
Pyre and Bastion do a great job at world building. So they're literally creating their own fantasy universe, which is absurd and ridiculous and awesome that they can do that in such a cohesive way. But then with Bastion, the reason I think Bastion rises above Pyre...
Like Bastion more than Pyre?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's another debate for another day.
Well, I just said that Bastion's like the top 10 all time. I don't think... But anyway, the reason I think it's better is because the minute-to-minute gameplay paired in with the story and that world is just so fucking good. And the way that you can change your weapons and have totally different play styles, totally different playthroughs, and that narrator the whole time. Like some of the moments in that game are really great. That game is special because it's super mysterious and it doesn't over-explain.
True. Oh, that's true. It is a great game to play.
I think it's a solid number 10. I would have it higher probably, but I think as far as our list, I think that's a good number 10. Another one that I'm talking about, our list, I think Portal 2 can go 9th. I know you're not as huge of a Portal fan as I am. I could see that being back there as well. Because I know when we get down to this grouping, there's a lot of stuff that we both, both of us are very passionate about, you know. Or, like, in the case of Dark Souls, I am just overly passionate.
What's so interesting is that Dark Souls, I would definitely, I'd see that as top 5. Like, I have no problem. I didn't enjoy it as much as you did, but I definitely enjoyed it. And definitely when it comes to these sort of games, Dark Souls just, like, hit, like, a certain button in me that just, you know, this might sound crazy, too. And you know how much I love Red Dead Redemption. I think Red Dead Redemption, I'd put like 8th or 7th.
Yeah, I would too. Actually, I hold it in very high regard. Obviously, we're talking top 10 of the generation, but I don't hold it as high as some of these others.
Right, and what's so funny is with Red Dead Redemption is that it's a game that if anybody mentions that game, I go, "Oh my god, that game was amazing. I had the best time with it." But you know what? And you brought up a great point with Dead Space before. You know, and I was talking about it with Skyrim and Fallout. Is that there are moments where it's just kind of. And I think I hold Red Dead Redemption to such a standard. When I played it, I was just so consumed by it. It was like the best game I ever played. But you're right. You know, maybe it's a little nostalgic of me looking back at it now. You're right. There are the moments where you got to do you get the wanted quests. You got to go do that, or you got to go pick this up, or you got to herd cattle. And you know, now that I think about it,
there's a lot of lulls. I mean, any open world game that's an easy knock against it. But what comes with those open world style games are all the surprising moments as well. So you can't have one without the other. So I don't know that that's necessarily a specific definitive knock against it. I think there are other knocks against it, and I think it's a solid 8.
I'd be curious what those other knocks.
Well, I just think that the pacing overall isn't great, even in the main story. I think it has some lulls when you get to Mexico and stuff like that. Where it gets a little long in the tooth, the story itself. But I think it's an excellent game, and it's absolutely a top 10.
I agree.
But you're right, I don't hold it in as high esteem as some of these other ones. Something I would say we put around that area is Braid.
That's okay.
Braid number 7, solid. Braid's incredible.
I love Braid. See, I like Braid more than Journey, but
I would put Journey above Braid, no doubt.
Well, that's the thing. I like Braid more than Journey, but I objectively, or that's I always say objectively, but like it's all subjective. What am I saying? But Journey is a game that I think Braid, you have to at least be like a video game fan. You have to like that sort of style. Like Journey, I think anybody can just pick up and just have an amazing experience with.
Yeah, you could make your mom play Journey.
That's what I want to do. I want my parents to play Journey, and I'm like, guys, it'll take you a minute time it takes to watch a movie.
So these 4 we've been leaving up near the top. Do you think?
Yeah, we haven't been talking
there's a reason
about those.
for that?
I think that's because
they're staying.
I think we can agree that those are our tops.
So we're
then we just got to figure out a 5.
Yeah.
So I think it's between Journey and Super Mario Galaxy 2.
Yeah, I personally would like to see Journey in the top 5.
I like Journey more than Mario Galaxy 2.
All right, so we'll put it in the top 5,
okay,
and we'll leave Galaxy at 6.
Okay.
So currently, we have the top 5 not in order, but the bottom 5 we have Super Mario Galaxy 2 at 6, Braid at 7, Red Dead Redemption at 8, Portal 2 at 9, and Bastion at 10. Okay, solid list.
It is solid.
Piss Bastion's all the way down
there. Dude, it's your fault, bro.
All right, so let's talk about these games. The issue that I'm having is Dark Souls is number 1 for me.
Okay.
I know that it's not.
It probably be number 4 for me, yeah.
Yeah, so I get that. So I'm having a hard time figuring what something else, because I don't want to name number 1 right now necessarily. Yeah. I'm just talking through my thoughts on it because I think that. What are you going to say? Your point?
No, I don't want. I keep cutting you off. I feel like so. I don't want to.
I was just going to say I just want it to be known, like, I think Dark Souls is absolutely number one on this list, but I think that as far as our list, I understand why it wouldn't be number one, but I still think it should be up there.
I agree.
I don't know that it would be number 5 or 4, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know that it would be that low, but I don't know. Let me hear what you have to say about
When we look
these.
at BioShock, Mass Effect, and The Last of Us, those are more story-driven games, and for me, those are the games that I gravitate to most. I will say this, though. I know this is crazy because I'm such a big BioShock fan. I would say I think Dark Souls is a better game than BioShock. This is my reason for it. BioShock, by the end, does get to that point where it does start to get a little tedious, and I like how
There's a part for sure where there's a few hours there where it's
and I like how it's very self-referential. Like it's just like it's very not fourth wall breaking, but it's where it's just kind of like, okay, you're playing a game where the game is actually it's all about control and who's deciding what and stuff like that. And by the end, you're doing all these fetch quests and all this stuff. Get the Big Daddy suit and do this, and it just seems very cliche. And I think there's a reason why it's cliche. It's trying to say how the game's sort of playing you as well. Just having said that, it does feel a little
okay. So let's
end, it kind of loses its
put it behind
momentum.
Dark Souls, and I personally think Journey is a solid number 5. I don't think it.
I think it's a good place too.
Last of Us, Mass Effect 2, Dark Souls, BioShock, Journey. All right. Here's my issue that I'm having with this at the top, especially. I think Last of Us is an incredible game and could easily be number 1. I think I've talked a million times about the Mass Effect trilogy, and that's my favorite trilogy of games ever. I also have talked about how Mass Effect 1 is better than 2. So I know you like 2 better, and there's definitely a reason why 2 is here instead of 1, because overall as a game, and for the majority of people, I think 2 has a more cohesive, interesting story as far as the characters. You're doing all these side missions, these loyalty missions with your characters. Like, I get that.
And that ending mission is fantastic.
Yeah, where they can all die depending on what you do. It's a little cheat with. I don't like the main villain in Mass Effect 2.
Okay, that's fair.
I think he's kind of stupid. He's like Organic Terminator.
Yeah.
Not a fan. But I think overall Mass Effect 2 is an incredible game, way up there. That's why me personally, and I want to hear your argument on what you think is a better one, I would leave Last of Us as number 1 personally because I think Mass Effect 1 would be my number 1. And I know that's a weird thing to say.
That's so interesting. Cause
I know that's a hard... It doesn't make a lot of sense, really, because we put Mass Effect 2 on here, not Mass Effect 1. But I'm having an issue being like Mass Effect 2 is the game of the generation when I really think that...
When did Mass Effect 3 come out? Was Mass Effect 3 also considered...
Yeah.
Because that's what's so tough, because I could... If we said the Mass Effect trilogy as the greatest of the generation, I'd have an easier time putting that at number 1 than I would...
You're saying Mass Effect 3?
No, I'm just saying, like, if we put, 1, 2, and 3...
Oh, the trilogy.
As like a cluster.
Well, there'd be no doubt. I
know that's what I mean. That would be, for me, that would be number 1 hands down.
Yeah, but we're talking about the individual game, Mass Effect 2.
I think Last of Us is a better game. The tone, it chooses a tone, and it hits that tone so well. It's not cliche. We've played hundreds of zombie games. We've played hundreds of zombie movies. It's just, it takes what seems like a cliched premise, but somehow it makes something so... It's like what movies like. It's like a triple A.
Naughty Dog are experts
exactly.
at doing this specific type of thing, making like a movie-like narrative between like the soundtrack behind, like score underneath some of the moments and stuff. Very good, well done.
Yeah.
But I don't. Here's my thing. So the moments in Last of Us are incredible. The opening, but they can be sometimes. I feel like as and feel free to call me whatever, pretentious, whatever. As I've gotten older, I've realized that it's very easy for me to identify emotionally manipulative things.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I mean,
and but it's not to say that they're not effective. It's that I, as a person analyzing this art form, is taking a step back and being like, that was kind of cheap.
Yeah, okay.
And I see that, and that opening is a perfect example. That's a powerful moment. It's a little fucking cheap. I'll say it real quick. Spoilers for the first 20 minutes of The Last of Us, but it's right as the outbreak's starting. Your daughter, like you're running in the street to get your daughter or something, or you're running with your daughter to escape or something.
Arms,
and then there's some like military guys there, and they end up shooting her, and Joel's there crying with her in his arms, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's a powerful moment, and they do a good job. But I've definitely kind of moved into the style, like my personal take is like I like more nuanced, realistic, less like beat you
dramatic,
over the head with how much this hurts kind of thing. And that's why I've it's not that I've soured on The Last of Us, it's still one of my favorite games of all time, but it's kind of started to slip up my list personally because of those type of things.
That's very interesting because I feel like I would have preferred, because it's very emotional. It puts you into the action, or seeing his daughter get shot. And I think that's important because then, for me at least, maybe I'm just a sensitive guy, but like, at least when, he grows, Joel, the main character, he befriends this young girl who's probably his daughter's age, named Ellie. You can see how he becomes a father figure and how she's like his daughter figure. I think seeing that and being that, wow, his daughter was killed in front of him, and having that tense emotional moment causes you to be tense and emotional and to relate even more why Joel would do the things he would do for Ellie.
Absolutely. And I would never deny the fact that it's effective in that story and it's necessary. Like, I would never deny that. It's just the actual... It's like the stuff that I've been enjoying the last 5 years or something is like, instead of... It's like, don't make the characters mug at the camera. Don't make them, you know what I mean? Like, there's something to an understated thing that makes me inherently kind of roll my eyes a little bit at some of this sort of stuff. And that's, I can't, like, I'll be contradicting myself forever because it's like half the games that I absolutely love are super eye-rolly, like over the top. Like I talked about Nier Automata, almost like being almost my game of the year, and it's like a lot of that stuff is way over dramatic and super anime, and it's like I get it, but there's something about a narrative that's taking itself so seriously that also is giving me those moments. That's kind of a little bit off-putting.
All right.
And again, we're poking holes in a game that we're talking about. Like, I'm basically saying, hey, this is one of the 3 best games of the generation.
What sucks
about it? Let me talk about how bad it is. Like, you know what I mean? Like, obviously, this is, it's just we're getting down to it, and I'm having a tough time. Can I just talk about Dark Souls before we do anything? Because I know it's not going to be...
No, I don't want you to talk about Dark Souls.
No, what I'm saying, I know we can't put it at number 1, but I want to explain why...
This is funny the way you said that. You just say, can I talk about Dark Souls?
No, but I'm saying, I know it's not climbing up, but
I'm just playing with you, brother.
I would like to...
Yeah, definitely, man, yeah.
I think, so, a lot of people know Dark Souls as, it's a super hard game, it's super unforgiving, and blah, 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 there's a lot of shitty fandom around it that's like, oh, get good, like that kind of shit. But the reason I love Dark Souls so much is, there's a number of reasons why I love it so much, but it does something in... So we'll address right away that some of the translation in that game is bad, like bad Japanese to English translation. So when I'm talking about the way that the item descriptions do storytelling, world building, some of them don't, because some of them are specifically mistranslated and bad. Okay, but the majority of it, they weave this really interesting world that is totally underrated in even some Dark Souls fan circles, where they don't give a shit about the story. They just want to have that gameplay because the gameplay is incredible and it's really well done. But it's the reason it's a full package for me, and the reason why I tell you some days it's my favorite game of all time, is because these bosses you're fighting all have stories and a history, and it feels like this really old world that you're coming in and fucking up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it does that in a really powerful way on the item descriptions when you actually get into it and read, like, you know, we're talking like it's super obtuse, just like the entire game as a whole, but like you'll get a sword from a boss that'll basically tell you, hey, this person was a prince, and then this happened to him, and now he's disgraced, and he is living the rest of his life out in the swamp or something like that. And it's like there are all these little stories that give context to the world, and that's the kind of shit that makes it a incredible game. It's a big difference between saying like, hey, this game's really fun to play because it's super hard, and it is. But then you layer that on top of the fact of the world design. I'm saying the world building as far as narrative, and then the world design as far as like actual playing. You know, the way that you kick down ladders to get to areas you've been before, unlock shortcuts. It's beautifully designed in an actual gameplay sense as well. So like for me, that's why when I talk about these sort of things, you know, I always lean towards like very systems driven. Like I love those kind of ideas. So for me, when we talk about games like Last of Us, we talk about Mass Effect, they're very, of course Mass Effect has the wrinkle of you make decisions and your party changes, your game changes, like whatever. But they're primarily one focus, and it's, hey, here's an awesome story.
Yeah.
That's their focus. So that's not a knock against them if they do them well, and they do them incredibly well. But I am saying, like, as a whole, the reason I hold Dark Souls in such high regard is because it has so many different aspects that make an incredible game, and it does all of them really, really well. Now, if you want to argue it, you could say, hey, there's some areas of that game that are terrible, and Blighttown is like one of the worst places.
Yeah, exactly.
It's 15 frames a second, like miserable. You get poisoned all the time, cursed, like terrible. I will never argue that. But there's something about it. It's like when you talk about games, it's like I love it for this reason, and I love it for and then a different game I love for this reason. It's like Dark Souls I love for so many different reasons, because I love beating Smaug and Ornstein for the first time and being like, that was the hardest fight I ever fought. I'm so happy that I beat it. And it's almost like that's a totally different game than when you say, I love it because of this world it built. You know what I mean? Like, it's so interesting to say that it has all these different things going. You know what I mean? Like, that's why, like, I could write a freaking... what's it called? When you get
dissertation?
Is that you write a dissertation on Dark Souls.
No, I know, man. I know how much you love it. I really do.
I just wanted to say my piece about that when because we're talking about Game of the Generation, and that would be why I would say Dark Souls.
And that would be your number one of the generation.
Absolutely, yeah. But
because everything that you say, like, what's so tough is that they're all interchangeable for me. I'm sorry, I keep cutting you off today.
No.
You were going to add something?
I was just going to say this is our list. This isn't my list. So when I'm talking about my list, Dark Souls is number one. But that doesn't mean it's number one here.
Yeah. For what Dark Souls does, and this is the thing, I don't have as much experience with Dark Souls as you do. I mean, I remember when we were working, and that's like all we would talk about, because you played it first, and I got it, and every time I got to an area, like, oh, damn, I got this, I love that. And I love that was, something that, like, there was just so much to talk about, where, like, even I could play Dark Souls for, like, an hour that day, and be like, oh, this crazy thing happened. Like, there's just so many of those moments, and as much as I love your passion for it, Dan, I really, really do. I don't know if I put it number one.
Yeah, Dan.
But I would put it over Mass Effect 2.
Yeah, you say Last of Us is the one?
I think Last of Us, for what it did for games, just all around the board. Like we were talking about tight games, and I know your feelings towards the emotions of it and how cheap shots and stuff like that. But I know that a lot of today's episode or at least I kept talking about tight games where from beginning to end. I feel like Last of Us from beginning to end, it wasn't too long. I feel like there was nothing that was unnecessary about that game. There was moments in Mass Effect 2 where you gotta mine for ore and stuff. Just things like that where it's just like
Sure.
And again, now we're just nitpicking because
I'm sorry to interrupt, but that stuff specifically, I fucking love.
Oh yeah.
Not the actual act of doing it, but each planet that you're mining has its own story. You ever read any of those?
Oh, well, you don't have time to read all this story.
Incredible.
Yeah.
They're so well fleshed out.
Yeah.
And I love that kind of shit. I love that sci-fi nonsense. Really fun, well-written stuff.
I think it took me just to play the first Mass Effect. I think it took me like 4 months, just because all you do is just spend if you spend your time
the original Mass Effect is reading.
If you just spend your time reading all of
that's my shit. Man.
I know.
Honestly,
I know. I love it. I love it too. But I think as a whole, as a cohesive story, game, everything, I think Last of Us is the tightest. I think it's the tightest.
It is the tightest, but it's designed to be the tightest. It's not as ambitious as the other games, and that's why it's the tightest. It's hard to knock a game for not being as tight as a game that literally won't let you walk off a different path.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying my issue is with these three is Last of Us would be 3.
Oh, interesting.
So I'm not definitely saying, hey, we're not doing Last of Us number 1. But I'm saying, as we're talking about it, especially, I started thinking about all the Mass Effect worlds, all the characters of different races. It's hard for me not to get emotionally invested in that universe, even though I like Mass Effect 1 even better. Mm-hmm. I can't separate the universe in its entirety from the experience of Mass Effect 2.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
let's be honest though, the romance stuff in Mass Effect 2 was weird.
Yeah, it's super weird. Hey, listen, none of these games are perfect. I'm saying, but it's hard for me to say that The Last of Us is number 1 because it's a tighter experience. If we want to say it's narratively the best game I've ever played, then that's an argument for it. But for me to say it's the tightest package, I can't
that's fair. No,
condone
okay.
that sort of argument personally, because I just think, then what are we talking about? Journey
Yeah, no, that's
wins
true.
it all. It's the tightest package.
Yeah.
It's, you know what I mean? Like,
no, you're right. You're
personally,
right.
that's.
But you're right. And Mass Effect 2 and Dark Souls are much more ambitious.
Yeah, but that's also the argument is I will always lean towards
the
that
ambitious
style of stuff. I talked about it ad nauseum about Prey, where I'm like, this is my game because it fails a lot, but it fucking succeeds a lot.
Prey on your like personal top 10 of the year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did that. I think right after we did our game of the year.
And I mean, and that's the argument too. Is just maybe, but because we're down to the wire with these 3 games, just looking for any sort of.
Yeah, and there. But what I'm saying is, if we're gonna knock a game down, we knock it down for the right reasons.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's why I'm saying, The Last of Us could stay as number 1, but we're not keeping it there for that reason. That's what I'm saying. But I just can't get past, personally, the fact that I think Dark Souls and Mass Effect 2 are both better games than The Last of Us.
That's so funny, because I think Dark Souls is better than Mass Effect 2.
Yeah.
I put Dark Souls number 2. I can't get past it. Like, again, for me, Last of Us 2013, that was it's
the culmination of everything Naughty Dog's done, and
everything I look for in a game, at least. So it's more of a personal thing for me too. It's just everything that I want in a game had that. Yeah. But listen, I
no, we're not here for. That's what I'm saying. If it's Last of Us, it's Last of Us, man. I'm not. we're not here so that I can put Dark Souls there when you're like...
But no, but I think I do agree Dark Souls is that good. And even though I don't have as much experience with Dark Souls as you do, or I love it as much as you do, I think Dark Souls is that good. Because legit, the best moments in Dark Souls are where, you're trying to get past an area and you think you can just go in and just, slash away. And then you realize, like, you got to be more strategic about it. So I do love that about that. I'll never forget there was a moment where you're on, like, a bridge, it's probably earlier in the game, and there's, like, 3 skeletons. And I'm just like, oh, and then one of them's got, like, a rock, one of them's got a sword. He's like, oh, this is super easy. I'm just going to go in and,
See, now...
That's the noise.
So now listen. Exactly what you just said. Early on, there's a bridge with 3 skeletons. Why the fuck do you remember that?
Because it's amazing. Because that light bulb... Boing.
But that is the exact reason why Dark Souls is an incredible game.
Mm-hmm.
Is you remember a skeleton bridge with 3 skeletons on it. Do you know what I'm saying?
No,
like, don't you like that? That's why, like, and some people some people play Dark Souls for an hour and be like, I'll never play this game again. And I do not begrudge them for that because it's a hard fucking game to get into. It's very obtuse, but it's like when you get it, there's something in that game that is super special.
I agree, though. That's the problem, bro. I agree, bro.
No, I know, Dan. I think for the sake of making a top 10, we leave Last of Us at top and we move Dark Souls to 2.
I think Dark Souls is better than Mass Effect 2. And this could be the argument that also, I know you feel that Mass Effect 1 is better than 2.
Yeah. If we're talking about my personal, it would be Dark Souls, Mass Effect 1.
Right.
1 and 2. No doubt about it.
Well, it would be Last of Us, then Dark Souls.
Dark Souls,
Mass
Effect 1.
And then Mass Effect 2?
I mean, if we're talking about we can bring all of them into it, then yeah probably.
Yeah.
And then I have Bastion above Last of Us, but that's a 10.
No kidding, Bastion more than Last of Us.
Yeah, but we're talking about personal lists here, Dan. This is Circle Back's list.
Yeah, Circle Back.
Trying to figure it out. I think Last of Us stays then. It's upsetting to me, but I think it's the way to do it because I agree that it's a fantastic game, and for me, I think it'd be number 4. So it's not like I'm arguing much here,
right?
But it's like
but it's like again, it's so hard to like. You can't be objective when when we're doing these things, but like I'm trying to look at like the games that came out and for what they, when you look at what games rocked video games, and
well, that's a different argument, I think, because we're not really doing that. Rock Band would be number 1, I think.
True.
If we were doing that sort of thing, it'd be Rock Band, Minecraft.
Rock Band rocked video games.
Yeah. All right. I think this is our list, Dan.
I don't want you to be sad, Dan.
Dan, one of us was always going to be sad. So it's all right.
You mean too much to me. I don't want to see you sad.
Well, too bad.
Oh, man.
All right. This is our list, guys. We have 10 to 1. These are the top 10 games of the generation. Xbox 360, PS3, Wii. Okay? Bastion, number 10. Portal 2, number 9. Red Dead Redemption, number 8. Braid, number 7. Super Mario Galaxy 2, number 6. Journey, number 5. Bioshock, number 4. Mass Effect 2, number 3. Dark Souls, number 2. And The Last of Us is our game of the generation. Fantastic game. No, honestly, it's a great fucking game. We're talking about the best game versus the next best game. I'm not upset about this. The Last of Us is a great game. I fucking love it.
Aren't you proud of me? Dark Souls that high?
I'm impressed, Dan.
Right?
I think I did a good job explaining it. That's why.
High five, bro. I agree.
You are becoming Tommy Wiseau, man.
I did not hit it.
All right. So that's our top 10 games of the generation. I guess that's it for us, Dan. Thank you, Shelby, as always.
Shelby's the man.
We appreciate you. And I'm sorry Enslaved didn't make it. I know Shelby loves that game. But yeah, that's going to do it for us.
Yes, next week. Thank you.
What's up, guys? It's Dan from Circle Back. I'm just here to let you know you can find everything that we do at circlebackgaming.com. If you just want the podcast, we're on iTunes. If you just want the video, we're on YouTube. So catch us either place. Thanks.